Kalaagaa Jaat Biasca. I just came back from spending a month in Canada. Going back tomorrow, so I'm really nervous and excited about that for sure, for obvious reasons. I wanted to first say thank you for NYCTM for standing up for putting this amazing event in Solar together. I'm really excited to get into it. And let me also say that I'm not native to the lands that we were in, and that I only speak for myself and to my experiences while I was there. I do not speak for the tribe, I speak to my own experiences. And I say that humbly, and I'm so thankful that they allowed me to be there for so long. I want to start with our Native youth, out of respect, because it is from them and from their brave action and leadership that all of this began. They ran over 2,000 miles from North Dakota to Washington, D.C. to get everyone, the world's attention, to bring attention to the issue of the pipeline and to try to stop it. So it is their bravery and those actions that have created a sense of bravery within all of us, and then also pointed to all of the issues that we are facing in Indian country, and there are many. But every day that we were in camp, we were talking about what we could do to stop work on the pipeline. And one of the first and one of the most important things that we did each day was to go on prayer marches. We would go on prayer marches to the site where our ancestors were desecrated out there. This is one of those prayer marches. The encampment began on April 1st. It began with 4 people, and it began on sacred stone on Ladana's land. And since then, we've done a number of different actions to try to stop work on the pipeline each day. I don't understand technology, I'm so sorry. This is one of our first lockdowns. So this is Happy American Horse that happened on August 31st. He did it along with Red Warrior, which is one of the camp that does all of the direct actions in camp. This action right here, this is the first time that anyone has done it. It took the police 6 hours to get him off of it. And it stopped work for that entire day. And that cost the Dakota Access Pipeline $2 million. That action right there. He faces felony charges for doing this, for harming no one, for harming no equipment. Felony charges. So everyone obviously remembers and has seen the dog attacks. At the time when this is happening, there were a few hundred people out there protesting every day. And where we're camped is a few miles at least from where the destruction of the land, from where the pipeline is going. So we have to drive. When I was out there, we were having to drive at least an hour each way to get out to the work each day. And that includes so many different people that will never be seen, that will never know, who are doing scouting to get information on where the pipeline is being built and how it's being built and how fast they're moving. So we were in court, we've been in court trying to stop this through the legal channels. And essentially, we had, within one day, told them where we had our sacred sites and where our ancestors were, and they jumped ahead 20 miles of construction to get to this place where they could desecrate us on this sacred day, on this anniversary of the White Stone Massacre that LaDonna's talking about. And the Dakota Access Pipeline's private security, one of whom is pictured here, they had these dogs that they were encouraging to bite people, to bite little kids, to bite women, trying to intimidate us off of the land so they could continue work. And these brave people didn't move. They didn't move. So the Morton County Sheriff's Department, which is the sheriff's department that has been spearheading all of this, actually on their Facebook has all of these really beautiful quotes that I would love to read to you guys. They said that our actions out there, our peaceful actions, were more like a riot than a protest. Individuals crossed into private property, accosted private security officers with wooden posts and flagpoles. We are actively investigating the incident and the individuals who organized and participated in this unlawful event. They, within the last month, after their investigation concluded that it was not us who were endangering human lives out there, it was that the Dakota Access Security that was, had to release a news statement. They had to tell the truth about what their investigation actually found. And that was that there was no unlawful act besides the people that had the dogs, the security out there hired by the Dakota Access Pipeline, were not legally allowed to do private security in the state of North Dakota, and those dogs were there illegally. That was the unlawful behavior that they found out there. So this is a picture of Ocheti Shakoan, because essentially most people were out in Sacred Stone before the dog attacks. After, there was a huge influx of people from all around the world, not just Indian country, not just allies, people from around the world saw what had been done to us and knew that they needed to come and take a stand against it. So our encampment grew way too big for Ladonna's land to hold. So we moved on to this, which is Ocheti Shakoan, and there are thousands of people there. When I was out there, they were saying it was probably close to 7,000 people on that land, living in tents and teepees on days when it would be 80 degrees during the day, and sometimes as cold as 40 degrees at night, with winds that went up to 40 miles per hour. And we're out there in tents and teepees. And it was the teepees that were standing in the morning, by the way. It's not the REI tents that were hundreds of dollars. It's our teepees. So Ocheti Shakoan means 7 council fires, and that represents the 7 bands of the Lakota, Dakota, Nakota people. And then just to give you an idea of what camp was like out there, we lived every single day as though it were a ceremony. Every single morning, we began in prayer to the Creator and to the Sun. Every single morning, we said prayers, not just for our friends and family back home, not just for the land or for the earth, but every single day I was out there, I heard prayers for the police officers who were sometimes engaging in brutalizing tactics against us. I heard prayers for the women out there with dogs attacking us, prayers that they would find peace in their hearts and that they would find solace. Every single day, we maintain that our prayer was our life pulse in camp, and every single action, every single direct action remained a prayerful one. And if people lost sight of that because they were angry, and they had every right to be angry, we had reminded them. We had all reminded them, this is nonviolent. This is civil disobedience. Our fight is not with the police still. It has to be with the pipeline. That's what we're out there to do. So one of the most important things that happens when you come into camp is that we have security. We have our own security that stop you and make sure that you don't have any weapons, that you don't have any alcohol, that you don't have any drugs. We are a dry camp. We are an unarmed camp. And everyone who goes out there agrees to that. There are predominantly women, children, elders. The Veterans for Peace was the biggest organization when we were out there. And it was really important to note that during all of our direct actions, the people that are leading it were our elders or were our youth. Because those are the people that we look to each day for guidance, along with local authority and local leadership, because we had a lot of it, and we still do out there. This is at one of the direct actions. So we went out onto the pipeline area. This is the land where we stopped construction that day. And we had kids that were as little as toddlers out there, along with mostly college-age students, people just like you and me. And that was just one of our actions that day. And this was the police response that we were met with. At the marches today, it's predominantly police officers with batons, but when I was out there, it was predominantly police officers with guns. And we were lucky enough that no one got shot out there. We didn't know if they were real bullets or not. There was no way of knowing. This was on the day, I believe, where we went out onto the pipelines and we planted trees directly in front of their path as a symbol for life and growth. This is the police response. This is the increased militarization of the police each day, because every single day that we were out there, more and more police came, and they increasingly looked like riot gears. When we first started protesting at our first protest in Morton County, they were normal cops sitting around with little orange cones. And we would be so excited if that could be the case, because they were just as respected, and their authority was just as respected as when they are in riot gear. We are not out there with weapons. This is actually one of the plants that we planted. It was the kindergartner who you saw in the previous slide who made the first hole for the trees to go in. So then other things that we had been doing is organizing with other cities and stuff. So we were able to, in conjunction with some really awesome activists out in Seattle, they were able to shut down one of the biggest banks that is funding the pipeline, Wells Fargo. They had 6 people, just 6 people who went into Wells Fargo one day, and what they did was they asked to close their accounts. And for whatever reason, that bank and that branch had to follow protocol, which means they shut down business for the entire day. So this is actually in front of one of the courthouses that we are out there protesting the unlawful detaining of some of our people out there. Just to give you an idea of the timeline, on September 8th, the National Guard was called in. They set up roadblocks. People coming to and out of camp would be stopped by the police, the UN, and as well as a number of organizations. We're talking about how illegal that was, and they've since scaled it back, and then scaled it back up again. On September 16th, Morton County Facebook page, which I encourage all of you to look at, is full of really, really interesting language and choices. Where they were bragging that by September 16th, they had about 600 people from 51 law agencies helping them out in just that month alone. On September 21st, the Emergency Commission decided to borrow, and this happened, $6 million to essentially wage war on an unarmed group of people. And so they, today, have already announced that they've already spent $5.8 million of that money. They've already spent it protecting private property from us, which is amazing because they've only become more and more militarized, and they've only increased. So you know that they've gone over 6 million by now doing all of this. And by the way, it's North Dakota citizens and taxpayers who are going to have to pay for all of that. They borrowed that money from a North Dakota bank, and they have to pay it back with interest. So they've also started hooding people so that we don't see where construction is. That's against international law. And that brings us to yesterday. So we have been maced by the police before. We have been hit with batons with excessive force. That's all happened before the actions yesterday. So essentially what happened was the police had to this group of people who were out there peacefully protesting near the pipelines. They didn't even get out there. They were still on a peaceful march, a prayer march. And so when they got out there, the police said, leave or we're going to arrest you all. So they tried to retreat and the police arrested them all. They arrested over 130 people. The next day, we woke up and decided that we'd had enough. So what we did was we decided to move our encampment from where we had been in Ochechi-Shakoan right in front of the pipeline, right in front of the Dakota Access land where they're trying to build the property, right across from where our women and children were attacked by dogs. So the police, 2 days ago, said you have an hour to vacate the premises, and we didn't leave. We won't leave. So yesterday, 7 buses, 3 with troops and the rest empty, Highway Patrol, National Guard, multiple MRAPs, sound cannons, armored trucks, bulldozers, all people who, by the way, on their own Facebook page were continuing to say that they were not looking for a fight. That's amazing, because that's not what their language was saying, and that's not what they were saying by showing up, looking like, literally, a private militia for big oil, when it's the taxpayers who are going to have to pay for all of this. They effectively cleared a path so that construction can continue behind us, continuing to bulldoze on the Lakota ancestors' graves. So these are just some of the pictures out there. So that day, over 140 water protectors was the nearest number that I got. We're brutalized. We're out there, and every single time we're arrested for misdemeanor crimes, by the way, we're getting strip searched in the jails. You're hearing reports of people being thrown in jails naked. They're trying to dehumanize us. They are trying to degrade us. They're trying to humiliate us with these actions. These are not normal, typical protocol. You don't need to strip search someone for a nonviolent action where it has nothing to do with drugs. And these are just some of the pictures. There's a 17-year-old girl who's in this picture who was maced 5 times by the police. And her arm was broken and re-broken by the police that day. And then this is today. This is today. They decided to preemptively put up a roadblock effectively in between us and our encampment and where the gravestones are, where they're trying to, as fast as they can, finish work. Because they know that we have reinforcements coming. People are going back out there. People are not going to stand for the brutalization of human beings. Because it doesn't matter what we look like. It doesn't matter how we pray or what language we're praying in. What matters is that we are being brutalized by the people that are supposed to serve and protect us. And so I would like to respectfully say I'm really sorry for being so passionate and also for all of the doom and gloom. But there are stuff that we can do. There's stuff that all of us have to do each day. It's not enough to just post one status about it. Flood your Facebook feeds. Facebook, by the way, if all of your live streams are being blocked, it's because Facebook has stock in the Dakota Access Pipeline. So we have to keep flooding the streams. We have to make sure that everyone knows what it's about. It's talking to your friends, your classmates. It's just lockdowns. It's shutting down, really investigating who the main donors of this pipeline are and stopping your business with them. And it's stuff that all of us can do, stuff that you won't be arrested for, stuff that it's a moral choice to continue to support businesses who are effectively trying to commit genocide against a group of people today. This is not history. This is not ancient history. This is not something that's happening hundreds of years ago. It's happening today, right now, in the USA, against its own citizens. And against a group of people that have already been demoralized enough. And we're done. We are the 7th generation. We are the group that's going to stop all of this because there's no other choice. And because this is the revolution here. We're not here to start a riot. But if the cops keep coming at us in riot gear, we will continue to pray for them and for their families and pray for a better future for our kids so they don't have to grow up and look at this. So they don't have to drink oil. And